if my internet works.
Yay! I was going to say, how's it been going with your internet issues? It's been a testing week, I imagine.
Awful, mate. A minute ago, I had amazing lighting and everything, and then the webcam's just gone kaput. Anyway, hi everybody watching. Hi guys. Welcome to the third episode of
Mystery Machine.
Yeah, that's
it.
it.
The Mystery Machine, I think, is the one.
So tonight it's just going to be a discussion on the moon anomalies and whether or not aliens have been to the moon, if an ancient civilization, human civilization, has also been to the moon possibly, and if there is any artifacts and ruins on the moon. So yes, I've got which one is it? It's gonna play some pictures. 1 second, if I can do that. Oh, bish bosh, there we go. So I'm just going to put that to the beginning. So this is a photo of the Lunar Orbiter 3 frame 84M, and it shows in the background there, it shows the shard, which is a massive anomaly, about 1.5 miles high from the lunar surface. And the little X above it is just a photo registration mark, so don't count anything for that. And just to the left of that, you can see what looks like a little smudge. A lot of people think it could be a distant galaxy, star system, something like that. But also, again, a lot of people believe it to be a glass tower, some sort of 7.5 miles to 9 miles high, on the moon's surface in the background. Let me just play this. There we go. So the next picture coming along again is same photo but different angle, and it shows the shard in the foreground there with the little registration mark above it, and then to the far left you can see the smudge or the tower on that one. Excuse me. That's a close-up. You can see the photo mark there and the tower to the far left. And it just intrigues me so much about if there is anything on the moon, any ancient civilization that once, did exist. And just going back to that last one there. Where is it? Yeah, that one taken by the Russian probe. I think that's just absolutely fantastic. Whether or not that's some sort of glitch, or if that is actually, the glass tower that they talk about. That's a stereo image of the shard. You can see the shadow on it there. Massive close-up. And up in the top left there, that picture, that's apparently a hair from one of the researchers. So yeah, that's I find that absolutely fascinating. I really do. That a lot of people believe that there's a dome over the moon, or some parts of the moon, like on this one here. So this is dubbed the castle on the moon. And this is apparently suspended. I think it's about 9 miles above the moon's surface. And if you look closely in the picture in the little red box there, you can see a line going all the way across, and that's supposedly to be some sort of cable hanging from a suspended structure holding this castle up. So yeah, again, that's absolutely bizarre. And these photos here are what I caught on a previous video that I was making, and you have to zoom right in to be able to see these anomalies, which is what they are. And if this isn't a craft floating, flying along just outside of the moon's atmosphere. I don't know what it is. And unfortunately, you can't go onto Google Moon to see these images because they've cropped out the sky completely, absolutely 100%. I spent all day yesterday going back and looking at the footage from the video that I previously made, and then back onto Google Moon, and all gone. There's nothing there. It's as though they've just taken all the old background off. That's a close-up of it. There's definitely something there. Excuse me. It's a bit odd. Again, that one there, is that a distant galaxy? Who knows? And again, this one here is very strange as well. Hi guys in chat. Matthew, second star, Shrimp, Wisteria, hope you're all well. Sorry about my camera. And another one of the same sort of design, if you like. And then this last one here, on the left-hand side, it shows a doctored photo, and on the right-hand side, the photo which hasn't been played with shows some extreme. Again, they believe it to be a glass structure of some sort, reflecting light off somewhere or emitting light from somewhere. So yeah, very, very intriguing. So yeah, so what are your thoughts on that, guys?
On which particular element of that?
Any of it, go for it. I'm gonna have to turn things up because I can't hear.
I think one thing I'd be interested in comment upon now would be the need for an alien civilization capable of landing something on the moon across vast distances of space, allegedly, if we're to believe that it's from an alien civilization from a different part of the galaxy, need cables to suspend something above the surface of anywhere.
Yeah.
Regarding the castle would be my one. I don't understand why they would need to defeat gravity or lack of gravity, either way.
Yeah.
With a cable when they've got the means for propulsion to make it across vast distances of space.
Distances, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that stood out to me straight away was why would they need a cable? I mean, what is it? Some kind of like Swiss holiday resort? Ski lifts and stuff like that. They just.
Well, it could have been. That's possible.
It could have been, yeah.
Maybe it was an ancient ski lift.
It could have been. That's what it is, Steve. It's an ancient ski lift.
Ancient ski lift. Of course it is. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Now, a lot of people say, no, go on, bud.
I was going to say, yeah, no, it's interesting. I tend to agree with Dave on that front with regard to it being suspended in the air. I don't see the need for that. However, I do think that there may be perhaps evidence of past civilizations that have perhaps put bases on the moon. That's definitely something that is much more possible. It's difficult, isn't it? There is a bit of interesting stuff that comes out when you look into the fact that NASA might be engineering the pictures from the surface of the moon, Mars, before issuing those pictures to the public. You've got people like Gary McKinnon, the hacker, that said that they were doing exactly that. He was corroborated by that Carol Rosen that used to work in the same building out of the Kennedy Space Center, that seemed to say that that's what they're up to. So I do believe that there potentially is stuff that they're trying to hide from us in pictures, especially Brookings' report as well, wasn't it, in the 50s, said that they would do exactly that if they did find any evidence. So I do believe that there is possibly some evidence being hidden from us.
Nice, yeah, I agree with you.
Big chunks of it have been hidden from us, that are altered. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Massive amounts of it have been, which I've took notes on, which we'll cover later maybe. But there's big chunks of this, especially from the Apollo 15 and the Apollo 14C series, our batch of photographs, the 8x10 glossy prints that were sort of snagged out at the facility by Ken Johnston, you know. So maybe going to them, and the alleged Apollo 20. You know, the joint American and Russian venture to photograph objects and get evidence of objects on the far side of the moon.
Yeah.
Certain alleged craft in craters and stuff like that, which I'm sure we'll delve into.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What's the phrase? Transient lunar phenomenon, I think is the one that's been used, hasn't it?
TLP, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I'm just gonna. Ooh, there we go. So, 1 second. Put it back to the beginning. It's on the beginning, yeah. So this photo allegedly shows astronauts. I can't freaking remember his name now. Ed Mitchell, because it says it on the picture there. And my eyesight's terrible. I blame it on the lighting.
I blame it on something else.
Oh dear, no. So in the background, not before a live stream anyway. I don't drink, so you know. So in the background there, you can see the white noise, if you like, and that's supposed to be reflections of ancient remains. But again, these pictures that I've put out, the person that's worked on them believes it all to be glass. So for it all to be glass structures, I'll just let this play on for a second. Excuse me. Yeah, and that one shows what is supposed to be. Excuse me, it's the same photo. What's supposed to show a crack in the dome that's surrounding it's the Triesnecker and Hyginus relay craters. So yeah, extremely interesting. And that photo there, again, I think it's Mitchell in that photo. But yeah, that's supposed to show, again, a huge glass structure behind the astronauts, which is miles and miles away. But I don't know. It's tricky. And then these photos again, the blue inserts are stereo photos, I think, but we're showing like the cables and tensions and things like that for the supposed dome holding the castle in place. But again, why would you need to suspend something? You know, use quite old technology in a sense, isn't it?
Well, it just doesn't seem that relevant to suspend something in the air, does it? You could build a base on the ground. You can build a dome on a base on the ground if you want to build an environment inside a build an atmosphere inside a dome for a species living on the surface. Yeah, biodome. There's the word I'm looking for. Would you need to suspend something several miles in the air above a planet? Do we do that now?
That's it. No, not really.
We build skyscrapers, you know, kilometre up, but do we suspend stuff in the air? It's a lot of unnecessary effort.
The only thing that is like that, I would say, would be the huge, like satellite dishes that we had. The one that broke recently. Can't think of its name. Yeah, but inverted. Yeah, inverted though. So maybe something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah. It's and just quickly, these photos here obviously show the shard and another anomaly on the insert on the far right, which I didn't have time to look into, unfortunately, on that one. But yeah, it's intriguing. It really is. So, Dave's popping in and out there.
I'm just loading up some pictures myself. So the shard, aka the spire, and a couple of bits of information on it. While we've got it going.
Remove that one. Boom, boom, boom. Have you put it up yet? No.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
in the
you have.
basement.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, now what they're saying is Dr. Petro apparently is like the deputy project scientist for the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter Camera mission, or the LROC mission, saying that it's not a spire. You know, it's what's going on is it's a small crater that's formed on the rim after the large crater. Is it Messinius E? It's labelled as Messinius E, and the sun is so low on the horizon that the dimple in the crater wall casts a shadow on the eastern wall of the crater, and there's a dark cascade of material falling down into the larger crater, likely caused by material falling onto the crater floor. So no spire, and it's just an optical illusion that we're seeing. What we're actually seeing is an optical illusion there. So it's a small crater next to a larger crater, and the walls casting the shadow, which makes it look like the shaft of the spire. Now, one thing that this doesn't explain, Dr. Petro, if you're watching, Dr. Petro, is the other photographs taken from an oblique angle or from a perpendicular angle where you can see it as form and that there's a vertical structure there. Going off some of the photographs, the photographs that you were showing just earlier have a vertical structure, but that's his explanation of it. Well, like I say, he was the deputy director of the LROC mission. He's explained it away as being such. And where's the other one? Sorry about this, guys.
Which I could agree with from the picture you just showed us, and perhaps it is an optical illusion from that picture, but from the other pictures earlier, Steve, it's very much more difficult to brush off with that explanation. I think, especially when you're seeing the spherical nature of the moon, and then you've got a structure that's almost anti that spherical structure, which when you look at planets, for example, you shouldn't be able to see anything to that level that makes it not look spherical. I don't know with the moon, whether it being a lot smaller, that's still the same case. But
I mean, when you're looking at when you're looking at the image and you're seeing the curvature or the perceived curvature of the body that's carrying this, which is in this case the moon, and you're seeing it protruding a good few millimeters or a couple of centimeters in a vertical fashion from the disc, then it's large, whatever it is. You know, it's
massive.
It's saying it is like anywhere between 9 and 15 kilometers or something like that.
Yeah.
And as you look at this, one, you can see the shadow that's being cast. Now, I dare say that they would say this is a result of material falling in after yet another meteorite impact. But you can see the shadow, and I do like the fact that NASA have gone out of the way to paint a nice little red arrow on the moon for us. Why the people who do these research think they have the need to point them out with glaring red arrows, I don't know, but there it is. You know, you can even see the shadow of that. So.
Yeah, fantastic.
What is it magicians do? Point your attention one way to distract you whilst doing something else.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very much so, indeed.
Interesting. Maybe. Who knows?
So, what are your thoughts then, Damian, on it? Do you think possibly an ancient human civilization could have gone there?
Well, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, I suppose. An ancient human civilization. I mean, we know from the isotopes analysed from the Martian atmosphere that there was perhaps a nuclear explosion millions of years ago on the Martian surface. So are we in fact Martians that migrated from Mars to Earth? And if so, we probably had the capability to stop off on the moon at some point if we were doing that migration and had the capability to travel between the planets. So yeah, possibly human, possibly other alien humanoid beings. Potentially, it could be either. It's very difficult to say, isn't it? Who?
It is.
Apart from the fact there does appear to be a significantly tall structure affecting the view of the spherical nature of the moon.
Indeed. It's what about
I
yourself?
think sorry, brother. I was going to say if you sort of like see it as an ancient civilization from mankind, and it's a stop-off point between two destinations, which I'm inclined to agree with. With Damo could well be the case. You'd expect there to be a subway there and like a little chef or something like that. You know what I mean? A little bit like a garage on the way down the M62 or something like that. But yeah, absolutely. There's I think you know we don't know a lot about the moon structure beyond what we're led to believe has come back from the Apollo landings. And we know the composite of moon rock, and we understand that it gets bombarded by meteorites, and that the deeper meteorites are actually, you know, newer than the shallow meteorites because of layers of dust building up. Yeah. Is it likely that a big, like, you know, freak rock formation or moon rock formation, many kilometers tall, has managed to survive millions of years of bombardment? I find that difficult to believe. That to me, that is a massive stretch, you know. And there's clearly something physical there. Now, is it a McDonald's? Is it a Subway for like the Atlanteans of the past? I don't know, but it's definitely suspect. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I've spent many hours on Google Moon and Google Earth looking at Mars and the Moon. And finding pyramid-shaped mountains or pyramids, if you like, both on the Moon and Mars, and just such weird formations that you forget that you think no, that possibly couldn't be natural, but then you have to think back to like the Giant's Causeway in Ireland, like the hexagonal, I can't even say the word, stones there, hexagonal, that's it, and think that nature made them, you know, possibly. But that's the theory on that, isn't it? And you know, there's so many right angles and straight lines and what look like old columns, like stone columns that have been carved and things like that on the Moon and Mars as well. And it's just too much to make me believe that there hasn't been something on the Moon prior to us. Do you know what I mean? I'm dead certain that there is or was some sort of race on the Moon at one time or another. Definitely. So
yeah, should we throw a bit of Ken Johnston in the mix, do you think?
Go for it.
Okay, well, I suppose in many ways you'd sort of see the modern sort of like hypothesis that a lot of images have come out because of Ken Johnston approaching Richard Hoagland and with these prints that I got. Now, Ken Johnston, I've done a brief summary of something about the guy, which is cool. He was a civilian pilot who trained astronauts for the Apollo 11 mission. And he ended up working at the Lunar Receiving Laboratory, and he dealt with processing and analysing photos and samples from the Moon. He was also the director of Data and Photo Control Department, and he had access to all the photographic data sent back to Earth from the Moon, which included photos, films, and slides. When the Apollo program began to wind down and samples were being sorted, his superior, who called Bud Laskawa, or Laskawa pronunciation, but Bud Laskawa, told him to destroy the photo archives. And special attention and emphasis was put on some 10x8 glossy prints. That never saw the light of day because they contained strange anomalies that NASA did not want the public to see. And NASA wanted to keep quiet about it. So Johnston claimed that the photos would often be altered to cover anything weird, with extensive manipulation and doctoring done on them to hide what he said were evidence of non-human structures on the lunar surface. And in an interview, he said, "Once we were done with the first 3 missions, I was put in charge of photographing and documenting their exact location, these being the anomalous structures. One day, my boss ordered me to destroy these images, and I reminded him that the government had paid for them and that they should be made public, to which he replied, "No, get rid of it. I don't care what you think." And it was because there was elements in the pictures that were unexplainable. And he said, you can see lunar anomalies, and it looks like something has been smudged out on a lot of the pictures. And this is way before Photoshop, obviously. And it looks sometimes like they would paint something out. In fact, he walked into a photo lab and he said he saw a woman painting something out on some of the images that had come back from the Apollo missions, and she called herself a stripper. A stripper, and so that that's what she was paid for doing. And now he was really upset with this, and this is what changed his mindset about coming forward with it, which is many years later, 1995, I believe. Like I said, that sort of like set off the modern era of structures on the moon and stuff like that. And we sort of said that's what made him become a whistleblower. So Ken Johnston, pretty big in the lunar anomalies field, and of course, like obviously, this fed guys like Richard Ogland, who again sort of propagated it too. God, that was very boring, wasn't it?
No, not at all. Not at all. That was quite interesting.
Oh, I find it interesting, but I find a lot of things interesting. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be here, would we?
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Don't believe any of it.
None of it. Aliens.
Yeah, aliens. Definitely. Go on, bro.
Yeah, so he's an interesting character, Ken Johnston. I didn't know too much about him, but he does seem an interesting guy that's very involved in lunar phenomena specifically, and just another whistleblower to add to people that tells us that NASA have been airbrushing things out for many years, to be honest. And there's a relatively long list of them if you look through it.
Yeah, there is.
There's only one or so that pops out perhaps every 5 years or so, but they have been consistent for quite a number of years. I don't think you can just brush away some of the things that have been observed with the fanciful theories that NASA have tried to suggest that have caused them. To be honest,
yeah, they've always done it, haven't they?
I can't remember exactly which one this was, but it's on the Dorias crater. I'll share it, and you sort of see some kind of
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's quite low res though, isn't it? It's hard to make out what it may be.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Looks like something from Star Wars, doesn't it? Same sort of shapes and things like that. That is interesting.
I mean, it sort of looks like it could be some kind of generator or boiler, or I don't know. Or it almost looks bomb shape, like bomb shape kind of thing.
Yeah,
like a bowling skittle.
I was about to say that. Yeah, 10-pin
bowling. That top bit, like a bowling skittle on its side, slightly with a tweaked top of it, maybe downwards. Yeah, and then that dark area below. It is quite hard to. It's so low resolution, it's hard to make out the geometry of anything, so it's very hard to speculate on what it is. I was going to link that back to the previous point you were saying. Geometry does have a tendency, though, to pop up in nature, like you're saying with the Giant's Causeway. And just in nature in general, you see the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, you see, what I mean, in terms of floral arrangements, floral petals on flower heads. And you see so many of these, geometric shapes within nature, that sometimes perhaps we are seeing patterns, geometric patterns that are natural, that we are perhaps trying to say are other things. So we do have a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
And there's an image taken from a little further away there, Steve, so you can sort of get unless you know the surface of the moon, but now this thing is I forget exactly. I should have made a note of this, but as memory serves me, around about anything between 23 to 35 kilometers long.
Wow. That's huge.
That is a huge, yeah. Sometimes you do need that scale to give these structures scale. Otherwise, you don't realise. But as soon as you realise that is 25 to 30 kilometres across, you realise the scale of what you're looking at.
Thing is, though, with now something like that, because if you look at all the other sort of circular ground features that's around it, it is very similar to everything else that's around it. But
I think
they're slightly
sorry,
more.
Steve.
No, go on.
No, sorry, brother. I was saying you're actually right. As you look at it there, it sort of could be a collection of impact craters, and it's only when you zoom in that pareidolia takes effect, and you know it is the previous photo, the artification that you see on it, the result of somebody trying to make it look more than it actually is. Do you understand what I mean by the smudging out of the image? It sort of gives it a little bit more credence. I mean, it should have put it back up, the old one. To me, that now looks like a few craters, right, stacked on top of one another. Excuse me.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're all right. You're okay. You should be able to get that one. Is that one coming at one minute, brother?
I'm still learning all this. I've spent like 3 or 4 days trying to work this stream out properly. Oh, 1 second. Is that it? Yay.
There you go. Do you know what I mean? The way.
Yeah.
By digitizing the effect, it takes away from the fact that it's 3 impact craters stacked on top of one another.
Yeah, very much so.
Looks much more like it's raised from the surface in this picture than it did in the previous picture.
And is that because of the vertical lines they put in for the digitalization kind of effect they've gone for? Because I'm sort of like leaning towards this being a bit of a fraud.
It's just too low resolution, isn't it, to really say anything with any clarity as to what it could be, I guess. No, I agree with that. I mean, to me, you're seeing this level of digital artification that's giving it the vertical striations here. You know, the digital blockiness, which you're not seeing on the other one. And when you see the other image, it just looks like 3 impact craters.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like zoomed in, and you know, this is the thing. You know, when I've done a search, which is always good to do, and see what kind of photos are knocking about for alleged structures on the moon, and you come up with this. Now, people will fabricate evidence to suit the narrative, just as NASA's capable of hiding evidence to suit theirs.
Of course.
You know, you're going to get that kind of activity going on from both sides. And to me, that looks like the victim of trying to prove a point. You know, that looks like the result of somebody trying to prove a point in view of suiting their own narrative regarding structures on the moon. For me, that looks like I'm calling that one as being a bit of it's been messed about with.
Yeah, maybe. Using or trying to find evidence to corroborate your hypothesis rather than analysing the evidence.
Yeah.
You can also work out as well, if you're used to looking at the NASA photos from Mars, from Mars and the Moon, you can almost work out what is airbrushed out and what isn't quite quickly as well. Because they don't do it very well either, to be honest. You would think that they'd be able to take that whole image out and put something else in there without you even realizing, but they don't even do that. They make it so obvious, blatantly obvious, that they've taken something out and put something back in. So yeah, and then there's that.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting picture. Clearly showing structure, perhaps walls. Yeah, I've never really analysed any of the moon pictures that NASA provided to us, but I did look into some of the Mars pictures that they've done, and supposedly there's the software engineering that they've done to render out evidence of street structures and old buildings, etc., and got rid of that. And then when you do run those pictures back through Photoshop and remove the the processes that they've applied to them, you start to see the civilization structure appear again, roads and buildings, and that was very interesting. But I can't say I've done it for the moon.
Yeah, and it's not, you're not adding anything to the pictures itself. You're just changing, you know, you're taking different filters off and things like that, and there is it certainly looks like it, that there is ancient cities and things like that that have been destroyed and in rubble. As we said earlier, I think it was Dave Dorias mentioned Richard Hoagland. He's one of the people to bring it out into the sort of spotlight as well. Again, back in the 90s, and in one of his main theories is about the moon, and obviously about it being with the dome on top and things like that. But also, like you just said, Damian, with the pictures, he's worked with them, and you get a side-by-side picture of like an earthquake-stricken part of America or whatever, or bombed-out place, and they virtually look identical. Really do. Again, is it pareidolia playing a part? Is it something that we're wanting to see, and we just see a couple of lines and our brains automatically sort of, you know, connect what's not really there, for us to see that? But it is quite, I don't want to say the word coincidence, because I was chatting to someone earlier on a comment, and they said that we don't like using the word coincidence, or don't believe in coincidence, but it is a little bit of a coincidence. I don't know, it's bizarre. But this picture, Dave, that's quite something.
You know me. I always like to throw a little bit of something into the mix, Steve. But yeah, Bosch, that's a crack on with a Richard Hoagland thing if you want for a sec. That's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So Ken Johnston kept the information to himself until 1995 and shown them a lecture that Richard Hoagland was doing. Well, after the lecture, he approached Richard Hoagland, and according to Hoagland, the photos were very intriguing and definitely showed the evidence of an alien presence on the moon. So not a Trust House 40, as we were saying. He was allowed to take scans of the images, which enabled him to deeply analyze and get further details. Now, this is what Richard Hoagland himself has said, that it's enabled him to use computers to use deeper analysis. I'm not so sure about that. You know, you can only do so much with photo scans, but there his claims. And he wrote about the photos in his 2007 book, Dark Mission, which you might want to talk about, Steve. That's your call. And he said, in scanning Ken's priceless Apollo 14 sea prints, I discovered that the computer could see what the human eye could not. As I previously stated, there's only so much credibility behind that. But anyway, incredible geometric detail in the pitch black areas, like the lunar sky, and the sensitivity of modern CCD imaging technology, so a charge-coupled device, basically, that means, on cameras and stuff, in even commercially available image scanners, coupled with the amazing enhancement capabilities of state-of-the-art commercial software, like Adobe's Photoshop, glaring red alert there, I suppose, allowed the invisible detail buried in these supposedly black layers of these 30-year-old emulsions to ultimately be revealed, and a democratization of technology that no censor at NASA could have possibly foreseen over more than 30 years. So Richard Hoagland claims that his ability to use software and these CCD type scanners enable them to pull out detail in the darker areas and use filters, as I said before, to pull out images or details within images that the sensors at NASA would have no idea that people were able to do 30 years later, when the lunar missions were on the go in 1971 and 1972, because a lot of these images have come from the later Apollo missions. 12, a couple of things going on in 12. There's even what looks like a a craft, or what appears to be a craft, in the visor of one of the astronauts, but you can see the lunar module in the background over his shoulder.
Yes.
I'll dig that out in a second.
Yeah, I was going to put that up. Yeah.
I have got that one. I'll put that up in a sec.
Yeah, good man.
So they didn't think, basically, his supposition is that NASA didn't expect people to be able to use the technology and the advancement in computer software to be able to analyze these images and uncensor what they had censored, is pretty much where what Hoagland's saying there was supposed to do.
Yeah, which I kind of agree with. You're not necessarily going to be able to think forward and interpret the technology that may exist in the future to retrospectively, look into more depth into some of the images that they did release, and perhaps they didn't airbrush enough out. But they're not going to know that at the time. So yeah, I see that as being a reasonable explanation from Hoagland. I do think perhaps he maybe found some patterns that weren't there, as well as perhaps some patterns that were. He was very focused on his goal, and perhaps finding evidence to fit the hypothesis rather than analysing the evidence to some extent. However, having said that, he did bring some interesting things to light about the Cydonia region on Mars, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Pyramidal structures, interesting mathematical things encoded like pi, or certain mathematical constants that basically mean you have to have a very good understanding of the universe and how the maths of the universe works to encode these principles into structures,
and also a relative longitudinal and latitudinal awareness of where these pyramids in the Cydonia Valley are in relation to the pyramids, the Great Pyramids in Egypt as well, and the face on Mars in relation to the Sphinx, and so on and so forth. Yeah,
you can even say with the face on Mars and the Cydonia region is virtually exact. Sort of replica of, is it Avebury in the UK?
Yeah, Avebury.
Yeah. So again, that's just mind-boggling. It really is. But what was that? That was
a text. Me and Jamie went to see Avebury not too long ago, and the henge at Avebury. It's not too far north of Stonehenge, is it? I'm trying to think.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that photo there. Yeah.
There you go. Again, thankfully, NASA flew to the moon to paint in nice red arrows for us to be able to see everything, because we're too thick to figure it out.
I'm guessing NASA was the orange arrow with the LEM, and someone else has then put the other one in later. Lead you away. Don't look at the visor. Just look over here.
Don't look at the visor. Somebody's also painted a bullseye in his face.
But a lot of people believe that as well to be the castle, don't they? That's suspended.
They do, yeah.
It's it's bizarre. It really is. Really is. And then you got the astronauts as well saying certain things when they got out onto the lunar surface as well. Was it? I think it's my mum actually. She can remember.
Well, your mum was an astronaut.
Yeah.
We're going to do that one in context, Steve.
On a broomstick, a witch more like that. No, I'm joking. No, she says that she can remember watching the moon landings on TV and remember the astronauts saying something along the lines of like, "Oh my God, look at them, there's hundreds of them," or something, and then it was cut off.
There's some footage, isn't there, from the secret, supposedly the secret frequency that wasn't broadcast to the public, and yes, there is supposedly they're watching us from the horizon. Yeah, I do remember hearing that. Yes,
yeah, I've also heard that. Yeah. I've heard the audio of it anyway.
Yeah. I've not seen. I might not have seen video. I've heard audio, not video.
Yeah,
fascinating. It really is. Just really quickly, talking about what was his name, Richard Hoagland, and one of his amazing books is this. dark mission, NASA. That goes lots into detail about what we're talking about. So, yeah, a very good read. Very good read indeed. If you can get your hands on that, I would do so.
Very good read indeed.
Very good read indeed. Oh, yes. So, yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
Go on, you fine?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, moving on from last week's topic where we were discussing obviously the moon landings potentially being faked. The one thing that I always think about Neil Armstrong is, although he seems like he's not perhaps one for the limelight, he's always very hesitant to really talk about his experiences of being the first man on the moon to anyone really. And I just wonder maybe whether it's not so much that they didn't land on the moon. It's more that they're not telling the whole truth from what they observed when they landed on the moon, and they've had to keep quiet. And because of that level of secrecy that's been involved, he's erred away from giving any kind of information or interviews really related to his tremendous experience, perhaps rather than the whole mission being faked.
Well, didn't Buzz Aldrin? Sorry, Damo.
That's fine. No, that was it. That was the point.
Saying wasn't Buzz Aldrin quite vocal about the fact that they've seen things when they were there?
Well, yes, he was. He was very much so. And in fact, a lot of the astronauts were very vocal about their belief in extraterrestrials. So Edgar Mitchell, who we mentioned earlier, believed in extraterrestrials. I forget his name now. How can I do that? I can't forget his name. The one with the astronaut with the very monotone voice, Gordon Cooper.
Cooper,
again, was a believer in UFOs. He said he'd been in the top military craft at the time. He'd seen craft outmaneuvering him. Couldn't explain it. He knows they're real. He has no shadow of a doubt because he's in the best military equipment testing it at the time, and they're outmaneuvering him, and he's just And when you've got not just one of the astronauts, but you've got the majority of our astronauts that were all highly trained, thought of as very clever, intelligent people, that were very unlikely to cause any problems as astronauts for NASA. So very, very sound mind. And the majority of them are coming out saying they believe in extraterrestrials and they believe in UFOs. Just the credibility of the people telling you is all you need to know, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Given the fact that these are the people that have been to the moon, that are saying they've seen this, that, and the other. This isn't people on behalf of the people that have been to the moon. This is the people that have walked on the lunar surface that are saying this. These are people that have been trusted with all sorts of levels of security clearance up until the event. Trusted with pioneering man's journey to the moon. All of a sudden, we're supposed to think they're insane and making things up,
Or were they silenced by a government that didn't want to disclose the truth to the public, as it had already said it wouldn't in a report that it released? I'd probably go with the latter.
Nudge, wink, wink, yeah.
There's no argument there. To me, the most likely one is the latter, and it's like 90-10 or 95-5. It's so swayed. I don't see how you can. But they're not all. They're not all incredible witnesses, are they? They're all very credible witnesses.
Indeed, yeah.
Just thought I'd throw up a few more pictures there, Steve, of anomalies on the moon.
Is this the one that some say is the sort of all-seeing eye symbol with Aleister Crowley? Is it Crowley?
Aleister Crowley, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the Illuminati symbol then, the eye inside the pyramid. Yeah, okay.
I think.
It's again resolution. It's too hard to tell. It's a dot within something that looks relatively triangular, but apart from that,
that's going to be huge as well. That is absolutely humongous.
Yes, it does look like it, given the fact of the craters that we're looking at next to it on the right-hand side. Which are by no means small.
Again, it's not a perfectly formed triangle. I mean, you can look at like light aberration causing us to see it as being more geographically straight lines than it actually is. You know, so is it possible that it's naturally occurring? The chances, I'd say, yeah, it is. Because to me, I agree with Damian. It just looks like a slightly triangular thing with a blob inside it. Really, what looks like a raised surface.
Yeah.
You know, again.
Oh, is that me? Sorry.
Oh, that's you, mate. That's all you.
Did I just take that off? Oh, I did, didn't I?
No, that was me. I'm going to share some more.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah, I'm in full flow now, brother. I'm in full flow.
That's right. I'm just trying. There we go. That's it. I found them again.
Absolutely out of order. It's not even my stream. Here we go. There's
Gonna ban you. No, I'm joking.
That's the point, though, isn't it? The collaborative guys helping each other out, figuring things out. If one of us has done a bit more of the live stream production, perhaps yourself, Dave, from last week's live stream, then we're all eager to learn.
Make it up as I go along, me brother, like everybody else.
2 days sorting all this out.
It
looks pretty good.
I'm impressed. I know I've got a lot of work for next
You're
week.
impressed. I'm over the moon. I just need to sort my lighting and flipping cameras out. But anyway, yeah.
There we go.
Sorry, Dave.
No, you're okay. There's another one in the basement there, Stevie.
Oh yeah, Bush. Oh, that's an interesting one. Some sort of hill fort.
It looks very much like an hill fort, doesn't it?
It does, with structures in the middle, all over the place. Actually, that looks like it could be Earth as well.
That also looks to me like it could be Earth.
Yeah, just black and white. Yep.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
The sort of fields in the top left. Possibly, I don't know.
Yeah, you can almost look like I don't know if pasteurization means I'm calling it milk, but it almost looks like it's arable farmland. Would you call it? I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, arable.
Yeah.
Pastoral being animals. And,
Farmer's field.
Cheers, Damian. I knew you had me back on that one. But an interesting image nonetheless, I suppose.
Yeah, very much so. Do you know what it says in the corner there? Can I zoom in or not?
I can.
In last week.
I can.
How are you doing that?
Because I'm an absolute dude.
And it's just those little quick skills that you need to learn, or we both need to learn. Sorry, Steve. Yes.
That looks a little bit difficult, but there you go, guys. I'm just opening it up in photo viewer, and it allows me to zoom in, Steve.
Yeah, cool,
right, I think I've got it. Half view of. So in the middle, the sentence is half view of the something.
Site.
Half view of the site. Yeah, that's it. Site. I think you might be right.
Taken from an altitude of 1.65 meters
on July the 21st, 1957.
Yeah. Oh, we've got some good eyesight between us, haven't we?
Does that say Iran? Hold on. Does it say? So it says. So before the bit that I managed to read, does it say? So it's like the word before. Yeah, main view of the site. Is it Iran? IRAN? Iran?
It's Iraq's.
Or is it Iraq?
Oh yeah, of course it is.
It's Iran or Iraq, isn't it? There as well. So it's a TAC isolation. I don't know.
Suleiman. It says
Suleiman.
Tade wants Salation. Suleiman. Yeah. It says taken from an altitude of 1.650 meters, so 1,650 meters, on July the 21st, 1952.
Was it 52? I thought it might be a 7, but okay, yeah, 52 then.
Yeah, so that's intriguing.
There you go. Again, another image that comes up when you say structures on the moon. That to me looks like it could be anything.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult to. Again, it's very difficult to speculate, doesn't it? Whether that's a man-made. It
does look like a settlement of some sort, doesn't it? Hill fort, and then you've got your little village squares, I guess. Well, not village squares, but village squares in there.
You know, in Mexico, you've got a
Interesting.
lot of those deep water holes that are part of cave systems where they're just it looks a bit like that to me. With a deep
top
water
of a
hole
big,
at the centre,
is
and the
miser?
outside with the a little bit. It just struck me as a little bit like that.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, yeah, another one. Again, I'm not making any claims, and they only done minimal research into these. But again, you know, type in the old Google search bar, whatever your poison is, people, structures on the moon, and you're going to get all sorts of stuff. So check this one out, because this looks like the Sarlacc pit almost off Star Wars, was it? Return of the Jedi, with all the teeth in it.
Oh, that one, yeah. Now they're supposed to be glass tunnels, are they, of some sort?
I think they are. They're supposed to be crystal or glass tunnels, yeah.
Again, tons of them on Mars as well have been seen as well.
I've seen pictures of glass tunnels on the surface of Mars. So I suppose the theory is that I suppose anti what's the word, maglev, anti-gravity train propulsion systems require you to be in a vacuum, so you'd need to build a tunnel system to have a vacuum in order to use these maglev trains at ridiculous speeds. Because in Japan they can do like 500 miles an hour, but if you put them in, but that's with air resistance. If you put them in a vacuum sealed tube, they can do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 miles an hour, no problem. You can traverse the planet in no time. So
I must admit,
sorry.
Yeah. No, go on, mate. You're right.
No, I think that was it, really. Just waffling.
I was going to say.
Go on, sorry, Steve. Go on, brother.
On that particular picture, the actual structure that we're looking at does seem to be quite more defined than everything else around it as well.
Yeah, and it seems to be very spherical.
Yeah, like Hadron Collider.
It's pretty much like a perfect circle, isn't it? There's not much off of a deviation looking at that from perfect circle. You need to know the scale here, don't you, to know what size you're looking at? I suppose. Yeah. Is that something on the scale of the Large Hadron Collider? Is it like, I don't know, a 30 or 40 mile circumference tunnel system? Is it a particle accelerator built on another body in our solar system? That would be very interesting.
Well, you just know that if it is a form of travel, if it's a train, even if it's going 7,000 miles an hour, it'll still be bleeding late.
Well, yeah. Standard.
Yeah, if it was Northern Rail, yeah, flipping that.
Although if it was a train tunnel system, it wouldn't be very useful because it just takes you in a complete circle back to the point you started from. Even doesn't matter how quick you're going, you're still not going anywhere.
Yeah, very much so. It reminds me of the old whisks that you used to get. In exit for Pavlovas and stuff.
Well, the edge on the bottom of a coffee.
That's it. Yeah, plunger, cafeteria. Yeah,
cafeteria. It's the bottom of it's the edge of the plunger on the cafeteria. That's what it reminds me of quite a bit.
I must admit though, if that is Photoshop, that is an excellent Photoshop because it is extremely good. And the shadow and shadings near enough perfect, I'd say, on that.
And that it's disappearing into and out of the ground on the southern edge here as well. I imagine that'd be very difficult to render as well.
I think in plain devil's advocate, though, if you wanted to make something look like it had been there for millions of years, you would do something like that, wouldn't you? You would make it look like it were covered in dust from impacts and stuff like that. Yeah. Give it the authenticity by doing that kind of thing.
It would be nice to know
we will age stress artifacts to make them look like fake antiques.
Yeah.
To give them the effect of woodwork. You can use tea bags to make documents look aged with staining. So even now we can, without CGI or without Photoshop, lots of people are aware to make something look aged. There's ways of making things look aged, and if you're gonna falsify a structure on the moon, if you're gonna falsify a giant egg whisk on the moon, then make it covered in moon dust, I suppose. But I see your point. I'm just pointing. as devil's advocate, I'm saying that's the kind of thing you would do to make it look ancient, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting to know how old the photograph is as well.
Again, that's another one of them that's yielded on the good old fashioned. Dave only got back a couple of hours ago and typed something into Google type thing. So that's one of those images. But interesting to look at.
What's the time? Oh, I've been going an hour. That's pretty cool. I just want to add this to the stream again. If I can find the right part. What do you think that could possibly be? And don't forget that that's the starting image, and you have to have quite a good eye to be able to zoom in and find something like that on the image. What are your thoughts?
Can you go back to the previous image just for a sec, please, Steve?
Yeah.
Just we got a frame of reference upon the field at which this was captured.
1 second. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's that bit there, isn't it? Yeah. Right.
My bad.
There we go. There you go. You got it. It's there, isn't it? It's in the slightly off to the left of centre now, in the middle of the picture.
Is that it, or is that your mouse thing? Is that the image there we're looking at, Steve, or is that your... No.
That was my mouse. Yeah.
That in the middle. No. Can you go back to the original image and get control of the situation?
1 second, I'm trying. Right, pause it. It won't pause.
That in the middle, to the off centre left. Is that your mouse icon, your cursor?
It is. Yeah.
That's the mouse icon there, is it? Right. I thought that was what it was zooming in on. That you were then showing us the zoomed in image, or is it? No, so it's up in the top right. Is it? We're looking then that it's zooming.
It's. I'd say it's about 2 hands away from the mouse cursor, like two cursors to the right of where the hand is.
Okay, well, as I look at that, I'm seeing lots of stars that are in the background that aren't obviously being able to be rendered into any kind of clarity all over. Yeah, they're not stars in the distance.
So them stars have been added. That's like you can zoom into that and it will show you like the star system, but it's not photographs. It's just like this is where the stars are, sort of thing. If that makes sense.
Right, so they're added afterwards to emphasize the position within the sky from the moon's surface where this object is.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so everything that you see below the gridded area, is actual is the actual moon's atmosphere and sky and stuff like that, and the stuff and the image and the stars above the gridded area is computer generated stuff. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's it. So then, you zoom in and you zoom in a little bit, and you see tiny little faint dot. You can see that. Can you see that, Dave?
Yep, I've seen the faint dot. Yep.
And then you zoom in some more, and you get to that, and then you zoom in a little bit more, and you come to that.
Right. Okay. Again, I want to play devil's advocate here. I've got to say this. Do we know which mission this was taken on?
It was. Does it say it on the flipping it? Apollo 11.
Oh, so that's Apollo. That's Apollo 11. So could that not actually be Columbia, the actual command module in orbit?
Could be. It could be, but
it seems to be quite a reflective surface, doesn't it? They're getting a lot of light reflected back off of it. As to earlier, you mentioned perhaps being a galaxy in the distance. I'd argue probably not. You're not seeing any other stars in that section below the gridded. Yeah,
that's the galaxy picture.
Oh, sorry. Well, okay, it wasn't the same. Right, my apologies. It looked very, sorry, from my memory, it's quite similar. But yeah, but we're not seeing. But my point is still the same. We're not seeing any other light from any stars in that lower section below the grid.
No.
So I don't think it's anything that's like a galaxy, a distant galaxy, or a star or anything like that, because it doesn't appear as though that picture is picking up the right spectrum of light to make the stars visible or galaxies visible.
That's it.
So it appears to be something else, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it could be what Dave said. It could be the module or that triangular one there, that one. But that is
with Michael Collins inside it.
Yeah. But that is. I was quite chuffed with myself when I found that. I was just like, well, that is something in, you know, flying about.
It's something reflecting light. That's very much, obvious.
It shouldn't really be there, but if it is, and then obviously you've got like this one here, and that's odd, extremely odd. And then you've got another one that's, that is the same one but zoomed in. But I mean, these things that have you know, we've got shade to them, we've got shadow and reflection to them and stuff like that. And it's like, should they really be there? But as I said, you can't go back. I've tried to set. I've got a dead leg. I tried to search for more the last couple of days, but all gone. They've all been like taken
down.
off. Yeah. Which
and
is
again, that last image that you shown was also taken on the Apollo 11 mission, was it?
Yeah.
Now the thing is as a paranormal investigator, and you know, there's got to be an element of debunking, and just because you don't know what it is doesn't prove what it is either way.
No, that's it. That's it.
One thing we do know is that the command module was in moon orbit.
Yeah.
Ready for for the ascent stage to join, so they could return to Earth. So we know that there is one object that is in low moon orbit during the what was it, 2 days they spent in total actually on the moon surface, and they were actually landed on the moon they were there for a while before they even come out of before they come out of Eagle. I think they were on there for a good few hours, and then the second day they left later on in that day, didn't they? So we do know that Columbia was up there with Michael Collins in orbiting the moon.
Yeah.
So is this something there that shouldn't be there? Well, but there is something that should be there, and that should be the command module. Yeah. So I'd be tempted to think we can't rule out the command module. I'm not saying it is the command module, but we do know that the command module is orbiting the moon.
Then it's a reasonable explanation for it, isn't it? I tend to agree. You can't rule it out. It may not be, but definitely can't rule it out, of course.
Yeah. So you could say that for that first image, but then the other two images, well, all the other images, excuse me, are from the same photo, if that makes sense. From the same, not from the same photo, from the same
mission.
Yes. Yeah.
Same mission.
Yeah. So strange.
Yeah, it was much harder to discredit the other ones earlier. That perhaps than that one in the same manner. I do find this all highly fascinating. I do believe that they are probably lying to us on some level. But like we said before, truth and the truth lies somewhere in the middle, doesn't it? Probably between what the government's telling us and the conspiracy theory speculation as to what everything could be. So in that case, perhaps I agree with Dave, and maybe it's most likely the lunar orbiter. But there are some incredible things that have been photograph that you can't discount in such an easy way, really, as the lunar orbiter.
Yeah.
Can we go on to the spaceship on the moon now?
Oh, let's.
Can we do that one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, this is there was a mission. There was several missions after Apollo 17. Apparently, the Apollo obviously 18, 19, and 20. Who'd have guessed? Who'd have guessed it? And Apollo.
I'll
Apollo
get you
20,
Captain Pugwash medal.
Yeah, thanks for that. Apollo 20 was like joint American and Soviet mission to collect data about anomalous images allegedly that were on the far side of the moon, and some of these images that were captured during the Apollo 15 lunar orbit from a certain height. The video's out there on YouTube should people want to see it. Anyway, there's a YouTuber, and they're always the people to believe. You know?
We speak the truth and nothing but the truth.
Let me tell you. And according to the file card, whatever that means, of YouTube user Retired AFB, who uploaded the controversial footage and shots, he's apparently a 76-year-old guy who lives in Rwanda. Why not? But he is. Yeah, why not? You know, Apollo 20 went to the moon on August the 16th, 1976. Yes, and its destination was Itzhak D, which is southwest of the Del Porter crater on the far side of the moon. The mission was Soviet American, and the crew was William Rutledge, the commander, who was former of Bell Laboratories. Leona Snyder, also from Bell Laboratories, and Alexei Leonov, a Soviet cosmonaut who was a former of the Apollo Soyuz, whatever that means. Now, they claim that they saw the ship that had obviously been previously taken in images or captured previously on images that were taken by Apollo 15, and saying that the ship was very old and that the age has been estimated. How they came to this conclusion, I'm not sure. Maybe off the impact craters, I don't know, surrounding it. But apparently the ship was very old and the age has been estimated at 1.5 billion years.
Wow.
Meteorite impacts and dust hill coverings testified that. So I've answered my own question there. Note that the ship has already been explored before the first human expedition, obviously Apollo 11. And he says, I'm not a photographer, neither an expert of special effects, nor an information technician. Paul, I'm reading him like pretty much the exact words he said, and it isn't the best English. Sorry, Mr. YouTuber. So I'm not really in the position to say something about the features of the footage. But what it is very interesting. And what's interesting about it is there really is a strange object on the moon, and its shape is very close to that one shown in the video. And he's talking about the object visible in a couple of NASA pictures taken by the Apollo 15 mission. And it's saying the cigar-shaped object looks lent beside a crater, lightly oblique. And we can argue this because the unidentified object casts a shadow on the surface, and the visible zone in the footage is very similar to the visible region in some original NASA photos taken by Apollo 15, which we just happen to have. I don't know if you've got some pictures you want to show, Damo, but I have if you haven't.
Yeah, no, I haven't got any pictures to hand right this second, I must admit.
Stevie, baby?
No, I'm good.
Fantastic. I just need to be able to find it now, don't I? So I don't look like a liar.
I like that. As if you needed an excuse there, Dave. I love that.
Yeah, who's he think he's cooling? Let's have a look at this particular one. All right, now I think this is the pretty famous one. Now, this is the Apollo 20 footage, or rather still from some of the footage from the Apollo 20 mission, which went back to see this, which had been previously seen on the Apollo 15.
Boom. Ah, that one. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. With the cockpit in view as well. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Almost like the Oumuamua shape, isn't it?
Yeah,
as well?
very similar to that asteroid thing, you mean?
Yeah, very similar in shape to that. What was it? Was it 2000? Was it 3 years ago now? 2018?
Yeah, 2018, something like that.
Yeah.
Now, he says that the moon region coordinates where the unusual object is are the following. So he knows where it's positioned, latitude 10 degrees south and longitude 117.5 degrees east, which is southwest of Del Porte and north of that Itzhak. And it's been checked on the lunar chart, and it is on the backside of the moon. And the original images were taken in 1971 by Apollo 15 during revolution number 38. So obviously the 38th revolution around the surface of the moon in low moon orbit from an altitude of 117 kilometers. Now, of course, we don't know the magnification of the videographic or photographic equipment that took the image. But that being the case, at an altitude of 117 kilometers, that is a pretty big object.
Yeah. very much so.
We're looking at a big object there.
Oh, humongous, isn't it? Yeah. Again, I'd love to just have like this, like a scale in the bottom corner of some of these images, just so you go, oh right, so that's okay. Yeah, that's 30 kilometers across, right?
Yeah, I agree with you definitely there. I mean, let's do a bit of zoomage because that's the kind of guys we are.
There we go. Yeah, you definitely got that white, that sort of second, what they call the cockpit area, sort of middle front that's reflecting some white light. There's definitely something there, isn't there? Some sort of structure, if you like.
There is a video out there, guys, and I think one of the commentaries that's given over the top of this video footage is to describe it as being made of these elements of gold and mylar in it. When you hear the voiceover, obviously with what we're seeing, it looks like it's slightly colorized. I don't know if that again is because of interlacing and the way that the video footage is coming back, giving the appearance that it's sort of like a color emulsion video footage, which I doubt. But apparently you sort of see it as almost colorized. Now, of course, if I struggle with them being able to see it with a naked eye at that kind of distance and being able to distinguish mylar and gold features on it. So I think they will be seeing a video, a TV screen of the video representation of it. And again, I think it's black and white. So how would they know that it's got gold features on it? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Sounds a little bit dodgy, that to me, is all I'm saying.
Well, unless the structure's that large that you're seeing it from 117 kilometers and you're quite clearly seeing the definition in material type. But that it'd have to be huge. Or under a massive magnification. But then would they be seeing the magnified image, or would they be seeing the raw image? And they should, I don't know. It depends what they.
And I think, given that it was 1971. The ability for telephoto imagery, and especially on a command module in lunar orbit, would lead me to believe that they're going to have if you look at all other NASA photos taken from the command modules or any kind of lunar explorers or lunar orbiters, they're taken from many kilometers out. There isn't a massive amount of zoom or resolution upon them. I don't know why they would suddenly have a massive amount of zoom for this one particular revolution of the orbit of the moon.
Great point.
117 kilometers is a fair whack out.
It is, yeah.
It's a fair whack out. So I don't know, but that's just going.
It's probably about 80 miles, and it's probably about being on the edge of the atmosphere or the edge of space in orbit around the Earth is a sort of.
Right.
So have a look at Felix Baumgartner when he jumped off of that platform from the edge of space. That was interesting. What could you pick out on the surface of the Earth when you view that video?
Yeah,
that's a similar sort of distance.
Now, Apollo, that's the Apollo 20 image, what I've just shown, or the alleged Apollo 20 image, to find out what had been captured on the Apollo 15 images, which I'm going to share now. So that's the alleged Apollo 20 mixed Soviet American mission to photograph these anomalies on the far side of the moon. And this is the actual Apollo 15 images that were captured.
Wow.
Now I'll zoom into that area again because that's the kind of guys we are. And I'm seeing a very different image there.
Yeah. Almost looks like Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo.
Going back
you got to get a South Park reference in.
going back to the previous image, that one looked like the Amoma, whatever it's called, but lodged on the side of a crater. I'm not seeing any such giant crater on that image either, and a difference in shape.
It almost looks as though. So this is a newer photo. This one.
No. This is the original Apollo 15 photo, which allegedly Apollo 20 went back to validate. And the last image that you saw was the Apollo 20 image. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a difference in there, but that
it looks very flat, much flatter surface, doesn't it? It doesn't look like there's anything raised or elevated or a ship wedged in to a crater almost, does it?
From that I can still see you still got shadow underneath the right end, yeah, or sorry, the right hand side. It looks like shadow where it overlaps what looks like the ground. But then again, in the middle, or rather towards the middle, you got two white dots, and then you've still got that cockpit looking sort of triangular egg shape, what would be a cockpit that's in the other photo, if you can sort of understand what I'm trying to say. I confuse myself sometimes.
I'm seeing a completely different topography of the moon's surface there, personally.
Yeah.
The giant crater's missing. I think, when that image has been seen, that's what's led to the creation of the composite image that I think there's no evidence to suggest the Apollo 20 launch ever took place, or anything, unless you believe Carl Wolf, because he said he was aware of it, didn't he? And with the various symposiums and talks he's done with Stephen Greer, because he's been very vocal about this thing, Carl Wolf, the boy who cried Carl Wolf, But that's it. There's also like another one. I'll share this because, again, that's just the way we are. People get used to it.
Awesome.
Now this is much bigger, in like a horizontal strip, a composite, sort of like 360, but not 360. But you know what I mean, more of a mosaic of images. So I've zoomed in on this and cropped it again. This is the same image again, Apollo 15, not Apollo, the alleged Apollo 20, and Bosch. There it is. And again, if I zoom in on it,
not got it up.
You will in a sec. Sorry, jump the gun there. Let me go back. You will have it 1 second, buddy. There we go. So that's part of a photo mosaic, which captured like a wide angle kind of thing of the moon from the Apollo 15 from the flyover.
It's different again, doesn't it?
When you sort of see it in context. And then when zooming in on it, got it right this time, haven't I, guys? There we go.
Yeah, it's just giving us a slightly different angle again, isn't it? And it does seem to look perhaps a bit more similar to the first image, this one, than the second, maybe a touch. But it's still very different, isn't it, as well?
It is strange. Oh, I don't know. It just makes me want to sort of believe the first photos that come out, and then a couple of days or a couple of weeks later, or whatever, they release new photos going, oh no, sorry, it's just an Earth feature or ground feature or something. Or
well, yeah, maybe the latter two. They've had a bit of airbrushing, a bit of rendering before being released to the public. Maybe the original hadn't.
If you look at the what you would call, I suppose, the very right tip of the alleged whatever it is, obviously it's raised. You can sort of almost see shadow underneath that, can't you?
Yeah.
You could say the black mass behind it is the crater that we were looking at earlier, and it's just a grainier, not as good an image because they captured it accidentally, and the Apollo 20 footage or pictures are better because they deliberately went to capture that.
Yeah,
they went up there to get that image, so you could argue that. You could also argue that we're looking at a big chunk of pareidolia. Yeah, we're making images that we want to make, and then subsequent people from a non-proven mission to the moon have fabricated evidence to suit the narrative again by elaborating upon quite a natural feature on the moon's surface.
I do prefer the first picture you showed, though.
Well, I'll show it again, brother. You can have it as many times as you want, Stevie.
Go for it.
You can have it again, brother. I knew you prefer that one, if I'm honest. That was all this.
I want to believe. I
know
believe.
You do, man.
I do believe.
You see, but this is just doesn't even look like the same topography. But I won't zoom in just yet. I'll show you the image and then I'll zoom in.
But I suppose the original Apollo 11 to 17, by the time that people have actually analysed the pictures from this and spotted some anomalies, that was the end of the official Apollo program, wasn't it? And 18, 19, and 20 were cancelled according to the official. Right.
Absolutely.
So that does look so different, doesn't it?
The layout of the moon looks completely different. The craters, the topography.
There's lots more detail in this photo, isn't there? But you can't marry that up with some of the other photos to say that it's the same. But
that's exactly what you see, Steve. And if you look at it, it's the right-hand edge which is raised again. So we're looking at it from the same angle, and there isn't the same craters in the background or anything.
Yeah. Could that crater, that dark area directly behind it, could that be the face of a hill?
It could be.
Yeah, that's what it sort of more or less looks like to me, anyway. But obviously, sort of going inwards, like a part of a cave or something like that.
Yeah,
as well, maybe.
Almost like it's scooped out or hollowed outside of a hill.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah.
Well, but the other image again, we've seen it from the same angle at 1 minute, and I'll bring that other one up, and I'm totally ruining it. I'm an absolute buzzkill.
It's because of us amateurs. Excuse me.
It's like, thanks a lot for that, Dave. I really want you to believe. But I'll get that up in 1 sec. Again, we'll just sort of like memorize.
I still believe in Father Christmas, guys. So,
there's nothing wrong with that. He's on board that spaceship there, which is halfway to paradise. So there's the right-hand edge again. Sorry, Dame, I'll go.
Is it any wonder kids get mixed up when we give them such strange views of the world? It's all right for a man dressed in a weird red costume to climb down the chimney in the middle of the night. But don't take sweets from strangers.
It's people like us that are keeping the dream alive, Damien.
But I just think for children, you give them such mixed messages as to what, you know what I mean? How do they make head or tail of it until they've actually realised that, Father Christmas doesn't exist, the Tooth Fairy doesn't exist, this doesn't, because all the other stuff can exist while all that stuff exists. But anyway,
there is one caveat for this entire stream, by the way, people, and that's believe what you want. There's but you see the right hand tip there, kind of thing again is you can see that it's raised. So I wish I could flick between these a little bit quicker. Sorry, Steve. And then again, I'll go back to the original one from NASA, and you don't have that hillside. Oh, it doesn't look like you got the hillside, and I don't know though.
It's completely it's completely different.
Is the image up?
It was. You've just taken it down.
Robert.
Excuse me. Sorry, guy.
So much easier running it myself.
Hope everybody in chat is doing well. Please remember to give a like. There we go.
I'm glad you appreciated that one, Damien. Thanks.
That's all right. Don't worry, Dave. You've got to wait to see mine next.
Get him in while you can,
It'd be interesting to see next week's, won't it?
Are you heading next week?
Well, I assume so. Is it not my turn?
Yes,
it is. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it is mine to plan. So yes, I will say yes.
Good man. Looking forward to that. Let's zoom in, Dave. Please, sir.
For some reason, I appear to have lost that capability, Steve. I'm just going to.
My magnification function has diminished.
Despite all me bragging of earlier tonight,
let's just go to the pub and have a pint.
Yeah.
We do the live stream from there. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Oh, I don't know, mate. The pub I went to was virtually empty. The bloke behind the bar went, "Oh, I'm going now. You finish your pints and just leave them there. I'll pick them up in the morning." I went, "All right."
Oh, no way. Bloody hell.
They're in the beer garden. But anyway, carry on.
Took them home.
You see,
yeah, that is because it almost looks like at the end where the tip should be, the point where it's overhanging and we can see the shadow. It almost looks like that there's another tip facing the other way, facing that same tip. If that makes sense.
There is some English in that statement Steve just made, everybody. If you can figure out what it is, stick it in the side chat.
Let us know.
Cheers. Yeah, I have no idea. But what I'm trying to say, it looks a completely different picture. Even the creator behind doesn't even. It doesn't even look I'm going to say don't look the same size compared to the actual anomaly that we're looking at to what it does in the previous picture.
No, yeah, it does, absolutely. So, and bearing in mind, of course, that this is the Apollo 15 image. So this is the original image. What people have made claims that Apollo 20 went back up to get more photographs of, and the clear image, which looks like it's got a cockpit and everything, is the Apollo 20 image. So this is the original image from the Apollo 15. So this is taken in 1971, and I believe Apollo 20 was 1972 when that went up. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah,
that's the Apollo 15 image that we're looking at now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that do we think Apollo 18, 19, and 20 actually really occurred even, given they officially said they were cancelled? Or do you think that was just the public front by that point? And they'd said, yeah, we've cancelled them. Right, let's go have a look back at those things that we didn't really get to check out again that we saw on the original missions. What was that? What was this? I don't know. I'm sorry, Dave, go on.
I like that thought process, Damian.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. It just makes me think as to the public interest was so low, wasn't it, by Apollo 17, that they didn't really think that it was worth funding anymore, to the extent they've been funding it through, was it up to 5% GDP, and then from about 0.5% and before, and then dropped back to 0.5% within 5-10 years after the Apollo missions. But maybe while they were just tapering that funding off, they're like, well, hold on a minute, let's just we'll go check that out.
And you can't ignore the TV viewing figures for each of the landings as well. It's blatantly obvious that people were losing interest by Apollo. But obviously, Apollo 11 ratings were through the roof. People, you better believe it. Apollo 13, everybody knew Tom Hanks were going into space, so they paid attention to that one. But 14, 15, 16, 17. There weren't quite as many. I'm glad you appreciated that one as well, Damian. Steve didn't seem to get it. But the 14,
I'm trying to do chat and everything. It is really hard.
Don't worry. It's hard, Steve. Don't worry. I'm saying this having not done it yet. I'll probably be able to tell you even more how hard it is next week. Yeah, or after next week's.
But when you see the viewing figures for the latter Apollo missions, have you made a good point about 18, 19, and 20? Were they cancelled? Were they said they were cancelled so that the public weren't saying you're wasting our money? What's the point and all this kind of stuff? And it's like, well, we're committed to it. We've sort of scheduled the launches. We've trained the astronauts. We've already had the funding. Really, we've got the material to get up there. Let's do it.
Yeah, but let's just not tell the public we're going because they're not interested anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. That
it is interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Just want to quickly, if I can, show this. Yay! Right. I hope it's the right image. Right thing that I'm looking at. Is this? Yeah. There we go. I can't zoom in. But this, it'd be better if I could zoom in. But this picture shows what looks like to be a pyramid type hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it, but with some sort of pipe sticking out the side.
Can you not press Control and the plus key at the side of your numeric keypad? Hold them together and it zooms in on the screen. Plus and the Control and the plus button at the side of your numeric keypad. Would that not zoom it in?
It does, but for me,
Right, okay.
For you, but not to broadcast. Oh, lovely.
I'll tell you what, though, everything's just gone rid of.
I've just ruined it for him.
Yeah.
The resolution you've requested is not possible.
Hold up. If I press the... Oh, no. Dave, everything's gone like really big. I can't see the screen or anything.
You're welcome. If you press Control and minus, it'll zoom back out.
Oh, fantastic. That shows what a noob I am.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so that's you can go see that on Google Moon. Not Google Earth Moon, but just normal Google Moon. Type Google Moon in to YouTube and bring this page up, and you can zoom in and sort of see different bits and bobs there. Oh, there we go. That's zoomed in a little bit.
Oh, excellent. That's good, that, Steve. Yeah.
So, yeah, and to me, that looks very much like a remnants of a pyramid-shaped mountain or hill or whatever you want to call it. But it does have that little white thing sticking out. It looks like a little pipe of sorts.
If you press the plus icon at the bottom right, you should be able to zoom in more on the screen there. Is that on your actual screen?
It does look pyramidal in shape, doesn't it? Though I agree. I suppose we're looking at the face in shadow, and then supposedly there'd be a face. Yeah. Okay. And it does seem to have defined lines as well of the other edges of the other faces as well. Yeah, it's okay.
Do you know the actual image that you're looking at there that you've got on the screen? Can you see the plus and minus the plus and minus in the rectangular bar at the bottom right of the image that you're showing on screen? Can you not click on that? The plus.
No. Oh no. Sorry, mate. No, that's on the actual video.
All right. Okay.
I'm with you. Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Right. It's not a function. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
I think I need to take some lessons. I thought I was quite competent at.
I was surprised you didn't know the control up and control down for the zooming function, or controlling the scroll wheel.
Never ever worked with laptops or PCs in my life. Even menu making and stuff like that was all pen and paper for me.
Okay. I'm so used to all the keyboard shortcuts for everything. I don't need a mouse. I can just use a keyboard if necessary. Right.
That was an interesting picture, though.
It was. 1 second. Have I got any more? Which is that the same one or is that a different one?
Because I did see one where there's a crater and there's like a pipe coming out the side of the crater. And they thought that it might have been some kind of like industrial kind of thing. I don't know if you know the image I'm talking about. Yeah,
I do. And the pipe goes on for X amount of miles and comes out quite a distance away from it.
Yeah, you can sort of see it trailing the sort of outline of it underground, leading away from the crater. That's the exact one I'm talking about. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah,
that's the one there, isn't it?
No, that's a different one. That is a different one. That one, it is.
Although interesting, we're looking at that face there that looks like the face, doesn't it, of the one side of a pyramid with a little bit of something sticking out. So that whole face is in shadow, but then whatever's sticking out from that face is quite well illuminated. Yeah,
and it's definitely there. It's I don't think it's a glitch or anything like that because once you zoom into it, you can see that it is coming out of a shadow. Right, let me just remove them because it's not the one that I wanted. Oh, flipping it! I can't. There we go.
Hello again.
Murphy's Law.
But yeah, that's. That's it now. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. What's
Best
the time?
leave it alone, buddy. Leave it alone. Don't let the
That's
sound
what
of
my
your own
parents
wheels
kept
turning
saying.
drive you crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
it
I've had
does.
that thought before.
Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah.
Shall we take some viewers' comments to see what the guys are saying in chat?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
Right, how do you do this now? Right, guys.
I must admit, I'm trying to
Give us
get
some
better.
questions.
Trying to get better at reading the comments and shouting out to people when they do say the good things. To be honest, it's just it is harder work than I thought live streaming. I would definitely admit that.
Yeah, it is. So Carl there put yeah, he put that.
Yeah, he mentioned a cryptid called the Trunco. That's just he's misspelled it. Yeah, the Trunco. Yes, Carl, he did. I don't know why he did, because it's not even remotely relevant, but yeah, he did. Carl is correct.
Comparison of shape.
Yeah, that's it. Amy Hall says she heard some of the glass tunnels are actually super duper old lava tubes.
Which I could possibly believe that,
Yeah.
but the reflective nature of the glass, supposedly the glass surface, would that exist if it was an old lava tube? I don't know.
I would say that naturally glass is made by volcanic.
Yeah.
Not stupefaction. Is it stupefaction?
Yeah.
Do you think an old lava tube's perhaps created just a sort of like almost a glass sort of structure around the edge of the lava tube that we're now looking at and thinking, oh, that's a maglev tunnel?
Is it possible we read too much into images?
Mm.
I'd say yes.
Very much so.
A lot. So.
Definitely.
Is it also possible that NASA's airbrushing them out?
Or in?
Well,
yeah,
or in, but more out. Of
course. Yeah.
They're trying to get rid of any evidence of ancient cultures from us, not make it appear. It'd be interesting if they did start doing that for a change.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, that would be quite funny. That triangle is very important, elementary. Excuse me. The circle with the eye may represent the seer, and the shadow ground in my path. Anyway, yeah, possibly. I think that's going back to the triangle all seeing eye picture that we put up earlier.
Well, yeah, I don't think the Illuminati were around at that point. If there was a civilization predating us on the surface of the moon now, it would have to be us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I wonder if we did ever get to the moon back in the ancient civilizations, all them hundreds of thousands of years ago, with the ancient technology, ancient aliens, and the Indian, was it Vima or Vinma, whichever it was.
Yeah, Vinma craft, yeah, for the Mahabharata text.
Yes. Part of the Bhagavad Gita, the ancient Sanskrit Indian classic, indeed. The Vimanas, or the Vimana Shakista.
The Vimana Shakista craft.
Yeah.
The battle of the gods over humanity.
And then they found evidence of a nuclear explosion, haven't they, in Mohenjo-Daro? Is that the one? Is it Mohenjo-Daro?
Yeah, all the glass and stuff.
The blast crater. What would be the blast crater?
Mm-hmm. Of a nuclear bomb that would have gone off thousands of years ago. Again, I find that fascinating. That kind of almost proving that the technology existed in these ancient cultures. Yeah,
well, it's like Puma Punka, isn't it? In flipping, the other places like that. Can't think of off the top of my head.
Tiwanaku, I think. That's one of them.
Yeah. We've all got evidence of like massive heat on certain areas that turned all stone to glass and things like that. All different different columns have been charred, and columns next to it haven't, and so on and so forth. It's so interesting. It really is.
Carl, really I can actually answer that question for you. No.
yeah.
No, we haven't got any idea how big that core circle structure is.
I'm going to say it's big. It's not anything on a small
huge.
scale. It's on miles or kilometers in circumference, isn't it? Because of the
it's high
something in orbit that's 100. Well, was the other one 117 kilometers up, where we did know the distance from the photograph?
117 kilometers is the craft. The 117.
So you think similar for similar orbital photos? So 100 kilometers isn't a bad sort of number to have, is it, for these other pictures of how far away you are, which makes the structure massive?
Yeah, it does. And I think just going on to Nellie Kelly, what she says there is possibly go back to what Damian said about that earlier, I think. Am I right in thinking?
Yeah.
So
very much so. Exactly that, classified, compartmentalized. So only a very few people in the top knew about what was going on, really, and the astronauts that were there, the 2 or 3 of them, probably.
Yeah. Kerry Strangeland there. There's far too many things that show intelligence, as well as things that just were beyond our means at the time. Yeah. Well, again, it's
beyond our means now.
Yeah, very much so. And like, some of the Indian cultures and things like that, knowing all the star systems and where certain stars are now and things like that we've only just recently, really, in the last sort of 200 years, we've just found out ourselves. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
I believe the name's Stangland. There isn't an R in there, so it's Stangland.
Oh, sorry, did I say Strangeland?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Someone's got stranger on the mind.
Strangers rocking the strangeness.
Wouldn't be something to do with your name, would it, Steve? but no, it's. I think you're referring to the Dogon, the African tribe, the Dogons, that migrated supposedly southward from Egypt after the fall of the Egyptian dynasty. That supposedly their ancient myth or story that they tell through the generations talks about Sirius being a tertiary star system, which you didn't discover till the late 1980s. Again, that just. But they've been passing these stories down for thousands of years. Well, they either had some technology that we don't know about, or they met something or somebody with some technology that we don't know about. It's one of the two. That's it. Yeah, they're the two answers. You don't get that information without having a telescope and being able to observe, or the person that told you having a telescope and being able to observe it.
Yeah. Just to answer Luna's question there, what do you think about Mars? Seriously, do you think there's been life there? I personally do. Yeah. There's a really good book. Are you allowed to shout books out on?
It's up to you, mate. This is your channel. It doesn't affect mine in the slightest. You crack on.
I don't think any author's going to give you a hard time for a shout out for a book. In fact, they're probably more than grateful for shout outs for their books. It's not like copyright, is it, on videos?
Yeah. I don't know where the bloody book is now. Oh, there it is. Oh. So, our favourite author, one of our favourite authors, Graham Hancock.
Oh, Graham Hancock.
Mars Mystery. Oh, yeah. Fantastic book.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. If anyone, it's quite old now, I think, but if anyone can get their hands on that, do so. I've got 3 copies actually, so I might give a copy away to a lucky viewer at some point.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
I hope I'm that lucky viewer then.
Right. Where's the entry, Steve?
Excluding YouTubers. Over 1,000 subscribers, anyway.
Oh, thanks very much. That's us two knackered.
So Steve gets his own book, the third copy.
I can sign it as well. Lunar eclipse. I won't.
To Steve, all the best, Steve. Sorry.
Oh no, I find it stranger. Yeah.
I do as well. I agree with that. Going back to Mary's question, I think there's regardless of books, I think they sort of already leaning towards the fact that they're finding evidence of that there's been life even at a molecular level on Mars. So I think the answer to that is just a yes. Whether it's bipedal sentient life that we're expecting because of books by people like H.G. Wells or whoever throughout history, Little Green Men, that kind of thing, possibly not. But certainly the fact that there's been life on Mars beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I agree. I think have they proven microbial life already?
Yeah.
I think they have proven microbial life. They just haven't proved any multicellular life yet. But the fact that we can see ancient riverbeds and where rivers used to flow, and then and then the fact that we know that it possibly was habitable when it had billions of years ago, when it hadn't lost its atmosphere due to its low magnetic field yet, and there was an atmosphere there, and I think life did exist there in the past. As to whether humanoid life, again, that's such a different. Humanoid intelligent life is such a difference from microbial life. It's, look at the Drake equation and the number of what was it, the factors that they use to determine it. Although what I will say in recent years now, though, is the factors at the start of the Drake equation we've got a lot better at estimating.
So look at this, like right? we 1 hour 50 minutes in and he starts throwing things out like the Drake's equation. Why now when we're just about to go off? Do you get all really?
I don't know. I can't help myself. I just go off on tangents.
Really intelligent and like on script.
I don't know. I was going to say is, some of the first few terms of the Drake equation, they've narrowed the estimation down to to be much more accurate than it used to be when they came up with the Drake equation, 50 years ago, whatever. Yeah. And we're now seeing. So what is it they now reckon? They reckon that 1 in 5 stars that you look up in the night, well, all the stars that you see are in the Milky Way. 1 in 5 of them has an Earth-sized planet in the habitable zone, orbiting its parent star that is capable of pooling liquid water on its surface. That's 1 in 5. We're the only ones.
It brings into the fact that just from the viewable galaxy that I can see, even with the Hubble and stuff like that, you're looking at billions and trillions of stars capable of containing a planet that's meets the criteria of the Drake equation. It's more and more likely. I'll throw it out there too. It's more and more likely that it's absolutely almost impossible to assume that we're the only life or sentient life in the universe.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, agree. Definitely.
Was that something profound right at the end of the stream? Yeah.
It seemed like a good point to leave it after me sort of going off on that tangent, and you tied it all back in nicely, Dave. I thought, right.
Well done. Oh.
Teamwork.
No, it's brilliant.
Indeed.
It's brilliant. I'm just going to save up and get myself a really big telescope so I can start doing some live streams with the moon.
Save up and get yourself a really good camera. Might be a...
I've got a good camera. Well,
I mean the webcam.
Oh, mate. Literally, like 2 minutes before Dave come onto the stream, before we went live, the lighting was perfect on everything. I've not done anything to the lighting in the room, but on the camera. And then I did something and lost the page, so I had to go back into it. And it was as dark as this, and I've got like 6 lights on, and it's just, and the TV in the background as well to get some light in, but it's just not doing it. No idea what's going on. Really don't. But yeah. I think we might have to do one on Mars next time.
Yeah, we'll definitely do one soon on Mars. There's some very interesting stuff, isn't there? Very similar to this video. But perhaps you could argue that all of the
I've got some great
images that have been taken in the recent years where you've got the digital software to edit. That was what I was going to trying to say.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. So it's all gone quiet.
I don't want to say anything after the last. I really want to end on a really good thing, so I'm going to keep quiet because the last thing I said was really, really good.
Oh, brilliant!
What joking.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think for tonight, isn't it? Unless anyone else has got anything to put out or say, rather put out.
No, I think that was it really. Without going too far off on that tangent of the Drake equation. Yeah, it's. I very much don't think we're alone. I think we're a very arrogant species that likes to think we know everything, but perhaps we're a bit more naive than we think we are, and we're not wise in all the ways of the universe.
Yeah, 100%.
There are things we don't understand, and there probably always will be.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think in summing up, I would say, I totally agree with what you said, Damian. And more importantly, I want to say, well done to Steve for doing this. I know it's been a bit of a nuisance for you, and it can be a bit of a grind to try to run the stream and do the slides as well as pay attention to the people in the chat, and it can be sort of overlooked how difficult it can be to juggle all these things. And I think tonight you've done a great job of it. I have no reason to massage your ego, and I'm saying it with the best of intents, despite what he's laughing at underneath me down here.
It's just because you said I've got no need to massage your ego. It's just the phrase you used. That was all.
But I'll do it anyway,
Yeah, but I am.
Yeah, well, for me. But you've done a great job, so it's been a good one tonight. But I've appreciated it. Yeah,
I appreciate that as well. Yeah, no, fantastic, and I can't wait to the next one.
Indeed,
absolutely looking forward to it.
Oh,
yeah, I've got a lot to live up to now.
Oh yeah, baby.
And yeah, shame that Jamie couldn't be with us tonight as well. Just he did pop into the chat earlier, didn't he? Bless him.
He did.
I think he's just tired and stuff like that with moving and stuff like that. So
somewhere between where we were in a fridge plug and building an IKEA wardrobe.
Bless him.
He's not. He's just probably in somewhere like that, isn't he? Moving house, the joys.
Oh, bless him. Has he moved far from yourself, or?
No, not too far away, but what's it? A few miles. I don't know. Yeah, a few miles down the road. So it's still the same, isn't it? Although it's not a long distance, it's still the joys of packing everything up and then unpacking it all again.
That's it. But no, thanks. Thanks to you two guys. If you're not subscribed to Brief History and Mysteries, and do so. Damian and Jamie both run that channel, and Dave Dorias Lives, Dorias Lives.
Nearly, Steve. Nearly.
Nearly. Brilliant.
I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. No, I haven't. But yeah, please subscribe to all. Share the video if you can to your local groups and pages and things like that. The more love we get, the better. And thank you, chat. Everybody in chat, thank you very much. I'll drop a message in a minute when we're done. Again, if has anyone got the link for the Facebook group to hand?
I haven't got it to hand. No,
I think you're the only one who can drop it anyway, Steve. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. You might be. Yeah, I think you probably are.
Right.
I think things seem to have changed with that.
Doing that now.
Flight in. Why do you want me to stop then?
Yes, what?
I was on the way. I don't know if it'll let me, but I'm a mod, so I will try.
Oh no, I've got it copied here.
The link's out there in the side chat. That's the Mystery Machine. aka Psychedelic Funkopus. So
Awesome.
that's where all the information's at, everybody.
Yes. Do you guys
Join
want to drop
it.
your links in to your channels?
Steve. Everybody knows who I am, baby.
You got the glasses.
The intro and the outro glasses.
Everybody knows who I am. I'm the annoying git on the screen.
That's normally me. Can't take my job.
Don't want to.
You should put your. Is it a fedora hat you got? Is that what it is? That hat?
I've got all sorts for some reason. I started collecting them when I realised that I had a weird shaped head. I thought the best thing to do was to hide it, camouflage the shape of the Swede with various accoutrements, as they say across the channel. You know.
Oh, I'm gonna say, I bet you're good with the French, aren't you? Excuse me.
I can speak a bit of it. Yeah, I can speak a bit.
Oh,
Yeah. I remember some French and German GCSE level, but I think it would be not very useful in the actual countries for very long. You'd soon realise how limited your vocabulary was. When you've ordered sausage and chips, you're pretty much done. Yeah, Brad's bits on pomfrets bitter. Like, oh, that's me done. I'm living on sausage and chips and beer for the rest of my stay in Berlin. I would say je voudrais une beer, but I forget what beer is in French, to be quite honest. So that's the extent of our linguistical skills. But yeah,
Ein Lagerbitter. That's the one.
Yeah, one Lagerbitter. That's the channel link for Brief History and Mystery. Damian and Jamie. They both work back together as beautiful partners.
That sounds really. That sounds really sinister.
What were you implying there?
That sounds pretty sinister, that Steve.
It wasn't supposed to, but it just came out that way, didn't it?
Brilliant. I love it.
Sounds fairly ropey.
Oh, flipping it! I'm just trying to get your channel up now, but I've come off of YouTube there. I'm not doing very well at the moment. I should have had all this ready. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry.
You don't need to worry about that, Steve. I'm after actually losing subscribers, so I'm in with the chance of winning that book.
Hey, what?
Well, you said nobody passed 1,000 subscribers.
So I just need to dip to 999 tonight.
I heard what you said.
And then we'll pop back to where we previous levels tomorrow. Hey team.
There you go.
I think that's is that yours, Dorias?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. So please, everybody, jump onto both their channels, give them some love, and
thank you, Steve.
Yeah, that is it. So I think we're going to end now, guys. It's getting late, past 11 o'clock, and so. Thank you very much, everybody in chat, and hopefully we shall see you next week on Brief History and Mysteries channel with Damian doing his first live stream. Is it your first live stream?
Yeah, it'll be the first one I'm taking control of, so yes. And,
awesome.
I'll probably spend the next week doing about 8 hours a day to get it ready, because I'm a bit of a control freak, so we'll see how that goes.
I'll cause as much trouble as I possibly can when I get on there next Wednesday.
Cheers, Dave.
Awesome.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
Absolutely.
Right, and I just want to say a big thanks to everybody as well, and in particular, thank you for all the nice messages in the chat, Kerry and Nelly Kelly. Thank you, and we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate you being around, and thanks to Steve for hosting it, and thanks for Damian for his company.
As always, gentlemen.
Yep. Cheers, Steve.
Right, guys. Cheers. So, awesome.
See you next week.
Cheers, chat, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, guys. Bye. Love you all.